morning, everyone. So good to see you all. Thank you for joining us for this morning's coffee hour. Today, we are joined by Nora Flynn, Senior Agricultural Specialist with the Colorado Water Conservation Board. Nora is going to be sharing information about CWCB's grant opportunities available right now and how conservation districts can take advantage of those. And so if you have any questions during the presentation, feel free to raise your hand or drop them in the chat, and we'll get to them as we go. And we'll also have time for a little Q&A at the end as well. And so with that, I will go ahead and turn it over to you, Nora. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you. Good morning. Share my presentation. Maybe actually before I start with my slides, I'll just show our CWCB website in case folks aren't as familiar with that. And yeah, so hi, I'm Nora. I have been at CWCB about a year and a half. So that's long enough to be through, I think, 4 grant cycles now. So I've become pretty familiar with our process. So if you go to our website, one of our 5 tabs is about funding. And at CWCB, we have 2 major funding sources that we're known for. One is the loan program, which is projects for infrastructure that are around the $100,000 mark or more. Sorry, I'm gonna have to pick up this guy. The other is grants, and those are the ones I'm going to talk more about today. We have sort of an overwhelming number of grant opportunities, and I'm not going to talk about all of them today, but we have water plan grants, water supply reserve fund grants, Colorado watershed restoration grants, federal technical assistance grants, education outreach grants, and these non-reimbursable funds are ones that need to go through the legislature every year. So I think, before I even start my talk, I think my biggest takeaway is that if you have a project you really want to work on, just come talk to me and we'll figure out which grant program is the best fit for you. Okay, so I'll start with my slides now. So at CWCB, we most recently updated the Colorado Water Plan. In January, we put out the 2023 Colorado Water Plan. It's a pretty large document that has everything from, history of river compacts in the state, overview of water law, overview of the different 9 major river basins in the state of Colorado, and focuses on the challenges and opportunities that local leaders see for themselves in the Colorado water issues. So that is a really great document to check out if you want to become more familiar with Colorado water issues. And I also bring it up because all of our water plan grants and applications that come in, we want to see have some sort of tie to the Colorado water plan. But I'll say that if you have a project in mind, I think you would be really hard pressed to not find an easy connection to the Colorado water plan. So the water plan is organized into 4 major areas: vibrant communities, thriving watersheds, robust agriculture, and resilient planning. Those are the different areas that we have grants for water plan grants. And they are, obviously very connected with each other, but we do have them compartmentalized in this way just for means of organizing the things that we want to work on. So my area is robust agriculture. We have grants that support, researching new, more efficient irrigation infrastructure kind of projects, things that benefit ditch-wide efficiency. We have projects that, test soil health to see how different soil health practices can improve water use efficiency, things like that. So there's 3 grant programs I want to highlight for you today. There's water plan grants, federal technical assistance grants, and Colorado watershed restoration grants. I think the water plan grants are probably going to be the most of interest to these folks today. Water plan grants can be, a wide variety of dollar amounts. In my time, I've seen everything from $20,000 to $700,000. And right now, the water plan grant program has quite a bit of funding available. If you remember a couple of years ago, Proposition DD with the sports betting revenue passed and has been supplying a lot more funding to the Colorado Water Plan Grant Program. And so this year we had about $5 million for just the agriculture category of water plan grants. And there are deadlines for that July 1st and December 1st. And I've got that info on a summary slide later on. So these are just some of the different categories of water plan grants, things that you could work on. There's water storage and supply, water sharing agreements, which is when a farmer or a ditch company sets up an agreement to share water with the municipality is the most common version of that. There's also conservation and land use planning. What comes to mind with that is we've funded a lot of turf replacement projects in the last couple of years. There's engagement and innovation. So if there's a population of folks in your community who are not well versed in water, or you see an opportunity to create better engagement with water issues in your community, that bucket is available. And then, agriculture, watershed health and recreation. Right now, a lot of projects in that area are more of the stream management planning and wildfire readiness. So what kind of treatments, what sort of planning do you need to get your watershed ready to deal with fire? So I just want to highlight one program that we have right now that is funded by the Water Plan Grant Program that folks on this call might be interested in. If you haven't heard of it already, the Colorado Ag Water Alliance got a grant from us to administer small testable soil health, drought resiliency type of projects on farms and ranches in Colorado. So it's all about testing concepts and collecting that initial data on some great ideas for increasing water use efficiency and increasing drought resilience in Colorado. And so applications for that are due December 1st. There's also federal technical assistance grants. These are if you have in mind that you want to go for a Bureau of Reclamation grant or an NRCS grant. These federal technical assistance grants are from CWCB, and they provide funding for you to research grant opportunities, to put together a proposal, to do that initial engineering that you might need to do to put together a water smart or system conservation project for those federal grants. And the goal with that is to bring more federal dollars into it. So then we have the Colorado Watershed Restoration Grants, and those are that wildfire readiness grants. And so we have a whole team of folks at CWCB who work on that. So if you're interested in that, I would just recommend getting in touch with me. There's a lot of funding available right now for assessing hazards and risks in your community. So here's a summary slide of those things that I talked about. I would be your main contact as a starting point for water plan grants. I can help direct you to different resources for that. And I'll share these slides with Kayla so you can have this information, but those are the contacts of the websites for those programs as well. So other things to check out, we can listen into our board meetings to learn more about what the CWCB is working on. And then there's the Basin Roundtables meetings that you can attend to listen to learn more about opportunities within your river basin. So I think my main takeaway is if you have a project that you have in mind that you want to work on in your community and you're not really sure where to start, I'd love to have a conversation about it with you. I promise this guy won't be there most of the time. He's just sick today, so he had to stay home. But I'm more than happy to talk with you and brainstorm because right now is a really great time to apply for CWCB funding because we've got a lot of great opportunities right now. So that was really short, but I think is probably hopefully a good overview to get folks interested and started. And I'm happy to talk about, answer any questions that you have about our grants. One thing I didn't mention that's a common question that I'll just head off right away is that matching for our water plan grants is 25% if it's a study. So for example, I want to look into, if I do a different type of irrigation practice, I want to study something like that. It's a 25% match. It's a 50% match if you're doing some kind of construction. So a head gate replacement or, any kind of diversion improvement where something is physically being changed on the landscape, we consider that construction. And that's a 50% match. And it has to be non-state dollars, non-CWCB dollars, sorry. It can be matched with CDA funds.
Great. Thank you for that information, Nora. And this is a kind of timely coffee hour just with those December deadlines rolling around. And so definitely appreciate you joining us and kind of offering to answer clarifications about, well, we have this project in mind. Where do you think we should apply or where does it best fit? So that's super helpful. I did have a question. Are all the and you may have mentioned it, but are all the application materials on those website links where folks can find them?
Yeah, so I'll drop a link to our website again here for the grants, but our grant program does go through it's a portal. So where you log in, create a username, answer all the questions and submit any supporting documents. That's all on there. And another thing that I think is really helpful that is a really good starting point is because of public information, we have to actually post publicly all applications that have been submitted. So if you scroll to the bottom of this page, you can see kind of not necessarily fine print, but bulleted list of submitted applications from recent deadlines. So you can click on that and you can see like what a completed application looks like and everything it entails. I think that's really helpful for kind of gauging like how big of a lift is this going to be to apply, what's a good word count for this kind of thing, and it's all like common questions and confusion with grants. So it's really helpful that we post all that. What we don't have posted publicly here, I think often is full budgets. Yeah, we don't post people's budgets, understandably. But those are things that we have templates for that too. I'm not sure if that's posted here or if I would just share those with folks. But yeah, we've got lots of resources. And then at the top of that page there, you'll see that we have we have 4 staff members specific to different regions in Colorado. And those folks are there for extra support for shepherding grants through the process.
Perfect. That is super handy to be able to look at those applications just to kind of give you a reference of what others are kind of how they're framing their applications and like you said, how much not effort, but you need to kind of like put into like word counts and narratives and all of that. So that's super helpful. Okay. Other questions for Nora?
Sorry again for the distracting munchkin.
No, no distraction at all. All are welcome, no matter the age.
Yeah, he's a budding water specialist himself. He checks his Cocora's rain gauge every morning.
Oh, see, it's important to report that information.
Yeah.
And like Nora said, I will be sure to share the slides for the PowerPoint and the links and any contact information that she provides as well. So keep an eye out for that email after the coffee hour.
I guess I would add a couple of the folks in the conservation district community who have been really successful with this. If you want to reach out to them and ask questions about how the process went. Mancus Conservation District has been really successful. Folks in Delta County, Susie Bilberry has experience applying to grants from us. I'm trying to think who else. Vanessa McCracken from Boulder Longmont has gotten grants from us recently. That's a pretty decent geographic distribution of folks. But yeah, reaching out to others, I think to learn how it's gone for them is a good idea.
And I know many of you have those contact informations or established relationships, but if you need help or don't have their contact information for some reason, be sure to reach out to your regional field specialist and we could help make those connections as well. And it looks like we have a question from Mariah in the chat. And she says, does the State Water Board work with water districts in the same or similar arrangement that CSCB does with conservation districts?
So I think, yeah, it's not a exact relationship, but I think our most similar equivalent like entity, local entity that informs the state entity is going to be those basin roundtables. We do have a pot of funding, not the water plant grants, but water supply reserve funds, where that basin roundtable oversees that funding. So they have like a bit of local control, and then also whenever we're developing like statewide policies and information, we go to the local roundtables and survey them, their opinions, and so that we have that kind of ground up information, and it's not just folks in Denver making decisions. I'm not sure if that answers Mariah's question exactly, but hopefully that helps.
Okay, thanks for that first question, Mariah. And she said, so yes, that did answer her question. And she has a follow-up that we have a few landowners who need help after damage or destruction from rain, water, hail, whatever it may be. But no disaster was declared. Is that something one of these grants could help out with?
Yeah, this is an interesting one, and I'm guessing you are out east, where there are so many crazy hailstorms this summer, fall. So what comes to mind with this is we don't necessarily fund like single project on farm improvements. But if we could sort of work on creating like a system perspective or like a ditch wide perspective or a collaborative project, that would potentially be a fit for a water plant grant if it had something to do with improving water management, whether that water is in the form of hail too, I think that would count. Um, and so, yeah, Mariah, if you want to reach out to me to discuss kind of what you were thinking on that, I think there could be a fit there.
Awesome. Thanks for those questions, Mariah. Other questions we have for Nora while she's with us today. Okay, well, seeing none in the chat, I am just going to give a little plug for our next upcoming coffee hour. It's going to be Wednesday, November 8th at 9 a.m. And we'll be joined by Mia Gonzalez, who's the budget program administrator for the Department of Local Affairs. She's going to be giving a broad budget refresher, if you will, for conservation districts. And so that's going to be super helpful for seasoned conservation district employees, or if you're new, all of us, it's just really nice to kind of go over that. And so with those budget deadlines right around the corner, that's also going to be pretty helpful. And so again, if you have any questions, always feel free to reach out to your regional field specialists. We have Garth Schaefer and then Dustin Shiflett as well. And so always give us a holler if we could help out. And so with that, one more check in the chat. Okay, well, we will go ahead and wrap up for the day. Thank you, Nora. We so appreciate you and your little one joining us. And if there's any questions, always feel free to reach out.
Thanks, everyone.